Thanks for watching. This video is all about building more speed in a bit different way than you may have ever seen before. This coach that I brought over from England is called Marcus Bell. He runs GRF Golf, which stands for Ground Reaction Force, but the way that he does it is very different. He wants people to self-discover a lot of the things on their own, and that process does take a little longer than like a traditional, normal, like tip-based golf lesson. So I had a challenge in editing this video because it was like an hour process before I even started hitting the first ball. So I've shortened it a little bit, but I'm going to be coming out with all the parts so you really see how it happened. In this video, you're going to see me gain about 5 miles an hour of club head speed, and then we go on later and I gain even more than that in ball speed. But the difference was that every shot I hit in this lesson went straight. So there's some kind of combination where this is speed building, but you're doing it in a way where the face is still under control. You're really gonna like this.
Wow. Club head speed, 113. First swing, 108.5.
Yeah. Thanks for clicking the video. This is gonna be a really important video for anybody who plays golf to see, because I found a guy in England and I brought him over here to California that explains golf in a very simple way and teaches it very differently. And I think one of the big phrases that I put in my mind from working with Marcus over the last 11 days since he's been in California has been, if you can walk, you can hit bombs, or you can hit good golf shots. So talk about, this is a driver video, we're gonna get into hitting dead straight, awesome, best drives of your life. But talk about how walking is really the fundamental movement that everybody bases everything that they move on doing.
Exactly. Very few people walk really well. So we've all got a suboptimal gait. Okay, so gait is walking. So nobody walks perfect. Exactly. But we're all functional. Yep. So we're all functional. And
most days without falling over.
Exactly, and we can propel ourselves, and we propel our body weight. So just to push our body weight off the floor requires, if we're walking at a pace, let's say, at least say 1.5, between 1.3, 1.5 times our body weight, okay? Yeah. So we've got to get our body weight off the floor, okay?
So when we go down, we get heavier, and then we get lighter as we
Exactly,
go. Right.
And we don't actively load or push off. It's a very passive action in terms of we load, center of mass falls, with the system loads, and then we push off, and we use a propulsion system. So the body's already used to using the ground. Yep. And we're actually rotating. So what happens is when we walk, it's a spring load and the body's rotating to move forward. So you're actually rotating around your center of mass, and your center of mass goes forward. Okay. So you're balancing out the rotations, but your body's essentially, your body is spring loading. And so we've got these mechanisms, we've got all the components we need for a golf swing in the gait cycle. Okay, so we're able to push off the ground, we're able to load into the ground, we're able to rotate, and we're doing it while swinging our arms, and they're reacting to us. So there's a sequence. We're talking driver, we're talking distance. Yeah. So we're looking at how can we use the ground to speed the arms up. But we've got the mechanisms. So we're able to push off the ground and essentially lift our body weight off the floor. Okay. So we can ramp up to 2 times our body weight, we can ramp up, it's individual specific, but essentially by increasing the load and having an ability to push off, we're creating energy. Okay. And it's the energy there that we can then transfer through sequence into the club. It's not always about how much you're loading, it's about how well you can unload. So you can see today we've got some children having lessons here, and they're smashing the ball miles. Yeah. They're not able to load into the floor like us, they don't have our body weight, but they can push off the floor, they can unweight. So the differential between the peak load and essentially the minimal, okay, the unload.
Peak unweighting, yeah.
Peak unweighting. Mm-hmm. It's that differential that's important. Okay. And so if we wanted to get maximum club head speed, okay, then we've got to be able to use the ground to enable us to use our body weight. A lot of people are staying loaded into the floor, and it's also, I see it as quite a typical case of injury. Okay. So people are actually almost fully loaded into the ground as they're striking the golf ball. The body's under tension, it's loaded into the floor as opposed to unweighting. If you take it to an extreme, if you're an astronaut, for example, who's off the ground for a long period of time, obviously it's anti-gravity, there's no zero gravity pretty much, but we are in the air. Once you're in the air, the body it's soft. Okay, yes, there's going to be some tension in, but there's no external force on the body. When you're loaded into the floor, now there's a ground reaction force. And so you are loaded into the floor and rotating, and that's when the swing can typically feel very effortful instead of effortless. So when you watch these kids playing, it looks effortless. When actually, if you were to throw a ball, you'd be unweighting and then you'd fire. And it's the rest of the sequence that stabilizes the end of the chain. What I want to do is essentially just move from toe to heel, heel to toe. So you're essentially walking on the spot. But then I want you to imagine the legs are pistons. And so you're going to flex and extend. And you're going to let your body weight start to shift from leg to leg. So there's a centre of mass movement. The centre of mass is actually creating this infinity shape. So we're actually, exactly. But because people are so focused on striking a golf ball, they never actually allow themselves to push off and lift in the backswing, which enables then the drop to then react with the push off. Everybody tends to stay quite rigid and centered, almost like head down, keep the same distance from the ball. And this is just restricting movement. It's a very reductionist approach to try and get some outcome. Whereas if you throw a ball, you wouldn't place these restrictions on the body. You let the body just organise via its own constraints, essentially the constraints of the outcome, and you let your body perform. Essentially, if I was going to throw this ball, if I wanted to throw this ball with my lead hand behind me, I'd start to push off, okay? So if I throw a ball behind me, I can experience what it's like to push off in my backswing. There's actually a precursor movement. You'll actually feel how you're priming it. I'd even suggest, I often say to my lessons, just paddle the feet, start to interact with the ground, and then just settle, and now, just get the arms swinging, and now I want you to throw it behind you. Now, what we're using this exercise for is to feel the push off the floor and the sequence from through the ground up to accelerate the hand this way, because we've got to accelerate the hand to swing the club.
So much more dynamic than just like kind of placing it in a spot. You're actually throwing it there. It's fun.
And it's not just straight back, it's behind you as well. So it's not just behind in this linear direction down the line, it's actually behind. So I can start to experience what it's like to go higher, shallower. So maybe I'm going to find here, maybe if this is a driver, it might be shallower. Or if I want to increase, I can feel the hand path, I can feel the radius, if you like, the width of the arc. It's like so you're allowing yourself to explore it, but it's dynamic and it's relevant to how we're going to be moving. Now what would you do if you didn't let go of this ball and you were going to throw it into the floor? So let me show you here. Where would you go now? Well, if you wanted to throw it into the floor, you'd go down, and what you'll find a lot of people do is they stay down. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to go. And they're like this. Now that would be typically loaded. I'm still loaded. But what I could do is I can start to...
That would be so fat that you would have to do this.
And then you get the chicken wing, what people call chicken wing. But if you unload, so if you actually recognise how fast this is, so you can start to appreciate what the guys on tour are doing, is suddenly now, I've loaded, unloaded, and that hand path wasn't affected. And it was a downward angle of attack. And if you notice, what's your hand doing? It's reacting with flexion. So you get all these wrist conditions, you get all these delivery release kind of pattern features through really efficient dynamics of your body movement.
Let me try this, Marcus, because I always do it too late, which I think would be 99.9% of people who've never done this before.
Yeah.
So it's a throw, a load, and an unload.
Yeah. Good. Still a bit late.
A little bit late.
Pushing off.
Load, and I got it basically immediately start unload.
Yeah. So when we jumped off the floor, we went down and up. It's a stretch reflex. It's like an elastic band. Bang, bang. You let it go. So it's got to be, yes. We're talking driver for speed. Yeah. It's a variation. Yes, that's better.
Oh yeah. in the ground and it's like you load it into hot coals and you got to get off.
Yes.
Okay.
Too late.
Too late. All right.
Cool. Now notice how we're kind of losing the directional element of this. And this, if you just did this straight away with the driver, you're probably going to get this. So here, what we can appreciate now is what we have to do to actually throw this straight. Now, it doesn't matter if the ball didn't come out perfect. What I'm actually starting to feel with this flexion is I'm feeling this supination, I'm feeling this rotation. And I'm having to time it. And your body automatically does this. All it needs is an intention in terms of direction, needs target.
Same or better? Or?
Yeah, you can bounce it off the mat if you can straight. That's better. Okay.
Just stepping a little bit.
And again. Good.
Great.
Now notice at the end how open you are. So this week we've been with some baseball guys and with a pitcher and major league players, and we had a lesson in hitting and pitching. George had a lesson in pitching, and it was separating the hand from the lead foot. Essentially, they're increasing this distance between the pressure application and the end of the chain to stretch the body. Yeah. You're doing you're doing exactly the same thing now, but in terms of golf. So this is there's chains here in terms of muscular length, muscular interaction. You've got these chains stretching. Think of these elastic bands that stretch through the whole body. You're stretching them all out. And now we've got to be able to fire these. We've got to be able to load and unload to fire it. And we've got to be able to have some control. If we can't do this with our hands and we start to try and ramp up the forces, we're going to be all over. But as soon as we can start to recognize the directional component, nearly. I'm going to release even later. It's really strange. There we go. Yeah. So the next exercise, Brendan, we do is introduce the club, and we do this with the driver. Cheers. So now I would suggest you grip it lower down so you don't hit the ground, because you might not be used to this and you might hit the ground. I don't want you to damage your driver on the concrete or anything, or bounce it off the ground and hurt your wrist. Just grip it a bit lower, just do it in the air, get it moving. And now we're just going to mimic the movement. We're going to replay it. We're going to throw it back.
It's the ball toss.
Exactly. And then pop and drop, i.e. we've popped and then we drop. So there's a drop, pop, drop, pop.
Yeah.
So it's a drop, pop, pop. So there's a drop, pop, drop, pop. So here, when I go to my finish, now move the right hand across, and you'll appreciate now how far. Exactly. Now from here, I'm going to do the same thing with both hands. I'm not going to move from here. Yeah, I'm going to just get ready, and now I'm going to make the whole movement from here. And start to feel. I lost my balance a little bit, that's okay. So I'm going to feel the lead arm again. And I'm starting to now recognise my balance. Try that, Brendan, see how you go. Now let me take the club, and then you can throw the ball, and let's find out where you go. Okay. Nice. That's fine. One more. Yeah. See if you can rotate.
I don't think having the glove on.
We need to let go much later. Yes, hold it there. Keep the left hand there. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to explore where you would be. Now bring your right hand to it, okay? So this is extreme. You can bring your left hand down to meet your right. Right. Okay, perfect. We're just giving the body an experience at the minute. Okay, now start again, this time with the club just in your left hand. Now do the left hand swing. And then hold it there. Now bring the left hand to meet, and take the right hand to meet the left, bring the left to meet the right. They both come together. Now from there, back and through to the same place. Fantastic. The proof in the pudding is hitting one.
Oh, easy.
This is the easy bit after all that, yeah. Be expressive. You're often not moving to the degree you think you are, so enjoy moving, enjoy being expressive. Golf's an expression.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast, if you load and get down, and how fast you got to get back up again.
Exactly. Wow.
That was one of my best drives of the month. That's fun.
166.4 ball speed. 270.5 carry. The path is 1.2 left with a face that's only 1 degree left. I mean,
so it's a well-controlled face with speed. Because
exactly.
Before the video started, we did some preliminaries. I was hovering around 163.
Yep.
So.
Here, they're actually here. 160.8, 265 carry, 164.4. So we've upped the speed. That was a 6.4 angle of attack. That was the last one.
Without losing the face.
Was 5.2 angle of attack without losing the face.
Yeah.
Club head speed 113. First swing 108.5.
Yeah.
Second swing 109.6, and we've had a break. It's not like you've been warming up. You've actually had a break, chatting, and then just doing some exercises.
Sure.
If you'd have been warming up, it wouldn't be a fair representation. But you've actually, just like in golf, it's like you've walked to the next tee, or even 2 or 3 holes, and then you've had a swing. But in between times, you've had a few practice exercises. So what you're actually tapping into here are natural body dynamics.
So that was pretty general for anybody. So that is, if you can walk, you can hit bombs. Thanks for watching, subscribe and all that. Yeah, crucial that you hit the subscribe button, because the next video really shows and explains really where the gains are coming from, and we start to get into some very specific and interesting drills to create more speed without sliding or throwing the face totally away. If you want to see the entire thing now, click the join button. We're putting up a whole lot of footage from Marcus's trip, and also all the other raw footage that I do with all the instructors on Be Better Golf is on the join page right there. So if you click that join button below, you'll immediately see everything right now. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.